Hello everyone, let's talk some nonsense.
Okay, so before we get started on today's topic, I just want to share a little story regarding our previous episode.
Hashtag story time.
Now, my intention was not for anyone to know that we're making a podcast until it was released. However, our darling cousin Dawn,
who we love very much,
stop sucking up, accidentally leaked the podcast. Now I say accidentally because she didn't know that we were trying to keep it a secret. Fortunately, none of our potential viewers actually saw it. She did it in a live video and none of them watched it.
They almost did.
Yes. Anyway, now under normal circumstances, a lot of people would probably be angry that they were leaked. However, I am thrilled. I've waited my entire life for something of mine to be leaked. Years of writing, nothing ever leaked because I'm the only person who works on it. But finally, something got leaked. Life is just grand when you get leaked for the first time.
It's really great. You have that feeling of validation,
Yes.
as if you truly are
A creator.
what you've always wanted to be, exactly.
Yes. Okay, so now that we've gone story time out of the way, let's move on. Now, today we're going to be focusing mainly on video games. We're going to recommend you guys video games, but before we do that, we're going to talk about games that we are currently playing. So, Vix, why don't you start us off?
Well, games that I am currently playing right now include Luigi's Mansion, the remake for the 3DS, because I have access to it because Dylan owns it and I'm borrowing it. And I'm about to beat it for the first time. I've never beat Luigi's Mansion. I've never beat Luigi's Mansion before. When I was younger, I used to be afraid of it.
Yes, I know. Baby.
Rude. It's a scary game for a child. I don't know. I'm also playing the new Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and a Golden Deer House.
How are you enjoying it so far?
Is where it's at. Golden Deer House is where it's at.
That's lovely, but how are you enjoying it so far?
I like it.
Our viewers demand to know.
Okay. Our viewers?
Yes, they have the right to know.
You mean our listeners?
Whatever.
Yeah, mostly in the beginning it's like all tutorial stuff and a lot of walking around and talking to characters, but I like that you can actually get to know characters better, and there's more dialogue and more interaction between them, and you can actually get to know the characters that you're like fighting alongside, and a lot of people can really get into their personalities and who they are as a person, and I think that that's great.
That sounds lovely.
So hopefully I will have more to say about it after I play more of it, because I'm only in the very beginning. I just started. They finally let me finish. They finally left me alone with tutorials.
Oh, tutorials stink.
Well, it teaches you how to play the game at least.
Yes, unless you already know how to play the game.
Yeah, then they stink.
Yes.
Like the training room in Luigi's Mansion.
Are you playing anything else currently?
What else am I playing? I like to play Stardew Valley and Slime Rancher at regular intervals. And you know what else I play on a regular basis? Minecraft. Now, we have a Minecraft Realm server, which I think we mentioned in the last episode.
Yes, we did.
Yes. So, playing Minecraft on pretty much a nightly basis is really good. Yes, we were talking about the Realm in the last episode. And typically we play with our cousin Dawn, and then, Dylan and I play. And we play with our friend Andy.
Yes, we were doing a creative world for quite some time, but we recently switched over to a survival world.
It's been interesting.
Yes. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do much last night because I spent most of the time looking up ideas for this episode.
We spent a good amount of time trying to come up with ideas for this episode.
Yes, it was certainly eventful. Although we ended up deciding on something pretty simple, which we already mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. I almost said video.
Video games. Give me my pen.
I keep forgetting we're nothing but nonsensical voices.
Ha, the drop. Gotta love it. Okay, so today we're going to talk about video games that are some of our favorites.
Am I not allowed to say what I'm playing?
Oh, I forgot. So Dylan, what are you currently playing?
Let's see. It's not on that list. I'm currently playing, a few days ago, I decided to turn on Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Wii U. Now, I got that for Christmas a few years ago, not a few days ago. And, I only played it once because I hated the combat. I'm still not a particular fan of the combat. I'm still trying to understand it. It's a bit complicated.
I still think you would like Assassin's Creed. The combat is like exactly like Batman.
Possibly. I don't know. We'll see. I may try it someday. But back to Xenoblade Chronicles X. World design, great. Music, exceptional. As for the battle system, I still don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Indeed. I believe in you.
Yes. So I'm only playing one other game besides Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is Minecraft, but Vix already went over all of that.
He would be playing Luigi's Mansion, but I had it.
Yes. You see, I was tearing my room apart the other day, after already looking through the entire room for a set of headphones that I lost, which were right in clear sight. Anyway, after I finished tearing the room apart looking for Luigi's Mansion, I realized, wait a minute! I let Vix borrow Luigi's Mansion months and months ago!
I forgot
So
I
I
had it.
text them confronting them about how they viciously stole my game.
I did not viciously steal. I was a victim of violent crime.
Yes, I certainly was. And yeah, so now they're facing serious criminal charges, and they're probably going to take a few episodes off.
Yeah, I'll be in jail for accidentally borrowing. Well, I didn't accidentally borrow it, but you know what I mean. I accidentally stole it.
Yeah.
I forgot I had it.
I can't wait to have my own talk show.
It's going to be fantastic.
It is. Maybe you can guest star whenever you get out.
Okay. When I get out of jail, I'm going to guest star on Dylan's talk show.
Yes.
This is a plan for the future.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, now I think we covered that segment, so we can move on to the games that we're recommending. Would you like to go first, or shall I?
I think you should go first.
Oh, you think I should go first? That sounds lovely.
Okay.
Well, number one.
These are... Oh, hold on. So these are games that we really like.
Don't hush me.
And...
Go on.
These are games that we really like and we personally enjoy and we have loved for a long time, mostly. And so we would like to recommend them to you and talk about why you should play them. So we each wrote down 3 of our favorite games and we're going to talk about them.
Yes, we are. So, I will go first. One game that you probably never heard of, all of you, some of you may have, is called Yo World. Now, this isn't just some game you can get for the Xbox or the Nintendo Switch or the PlayStation. It's a Facebook game.
You know, you remember the old Facebook games like Farmville and like, well, Bejeweled you can play on other platforms now, but that used to be a Facebook game.
Uh-huh. Well, Yo World, basically you play as this little player. You can buy houses, you can buy pets, you can buy clothes.
If you miss Club Penguin, I suggest going on Yo World.
You can basically live your own fantasy life that you'll probably never live in real life.
It's essentially Facebook Club Penguin.
Except a bit more adult.
Yeah, so youngsters, do be careful.
Even though I played when I was a youngster, but we won't talk about that. I had the best houses when I was a youngster. Back when MySpace was a thing. We're getting a bit off topic. Second game I recommend is Watch Dogs.
We'll bring that back later, back when MySpace was a thing. Was a thing.
Second game, Watch Dogs. So basically, what you do in that game is sort of like Grand Theft Auto, except you're able to control cameras around the city. And in Watch Dogs 2, which is the game that I constantly revisit, you get to have people arrested for crimes that they didn't commit. And you know what's even better? In that game, you can also put out hits on people using gangs. So it's always fun causing chaos in the streets in Watch Dogs. You get to cause wars between the police and gangs. It's very interesting to watch. Better than TV.
Similarly to Grand Theft Auto, you can drive cars.
Oh, yes.
Driving cars around and crashing into things and...
Commit crimes.
Yeah.
Basically another way to live out your fantasies without going to jail. Except the cops will chase you in the game too, so just warning you.
You can get on a boat and run away. I recommend it.
That only works in the first game.
It does? Oh, you can't do that in Watch Dogs 2. If you jump in the ocean, they follow you in the ocean?
I'm pretty sure they come at you in boats now.
Oh, no. Well, okay, never mind. If you're playing Watch Dogs 1, you can take my advice. If you're playing Watch Dogs 2, apparently you're out of luck because they have police boats.
I'm an expert at getting away from the cops.
You would be.
In that game.
Mm-hmm. Has to clarify for legal reasons.
The network's probably going to cancel us now.
I thought we were going to bounce back and forth.
Oh, we were? Well, I'm not finished. Tomodachi Life is my third and final game. It's on the Nintendo 3DS, and basically anyone who owns Nintendo platforms know what a Mii is. Basically, you have a bunch of Miis that you create living in an apartment building. They have you solving problems, They let you pick out apartments for the Miis. The Miis can meet each other and become friends. They can get married. They can have children. I've made Miis of all of my characters so that I can cause all sorts of drama between them.
It's really a beautiful game.
Yes.
It's like Animal Crossing meets The Sims meets Nintendo.
My favorite part of the game is getting couples together and then breaking them up. That's quite enjoyable.
Or when couples leave their babies unattended.
That doesn't normally happen. Sometimes it does.
When they're crawling around in the kitchen, they're sitting on the back porch.
Very realistic. Off to you, friend.
Okay. So for the 3 games I chose, the first one is a game that is very near and dear to my heart because it was one of the first games that I've ever played. Paper Mario, and in specifics, The 1,000-Year Door and Color Splash. Now, Paper Mario itself for the 64 is a really great game. It's essentially would you consider it an RPG? It's an RPG, right?
Yes.
Yes. So,
a turn-based RPG.
A turn-based RPG, okay. And you get to go on an adventure as Mario, who is made of paper. And eventually in the series, they kind of they play with that more than the fact that he's just 2D. Like in the 1,000-Year Door, you can turn into shapes like a paper boat and a paper plane.
Yes.
Now, the 1,000-Year Door is the second game, but I personally think it's the best game.
I think almost everyone agrees with that statement.
I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, it's the second game. It's a sequel. It can be better than the first game. But I think it is, honestly. They really...
a lot of people think that the second game is better.
Yeah, that's because it is.
Yes, it is.
Exactly. So,
for once, studio actually builds upon the concept of the last game and makes it better.
Something that we've been dying for everybody to do and nobody does.
Imagine that.
Paper Mario did it. So y'all, Andy, I'm looking at you. Paper Mario, The 1,000-Year Door. Also, Paper Mario Color Splash is really good because they took concepts from all the first games, like all the games leading up to it. Like the first 4, I think, Paper Mario Color Splash is Paper Mario 5. They took games and they took concepts from all the first 4 games and they added them into it. And then they also just made it really hilarious and, ridiculously stupid, but amazing at the same time. Like, at one point, I think Yoshi, jumps out the window. It's a beautiful game. Okay. The second game I would like to talk about...
You must have played Sticker Star.
Who?
Yoshi.
Oh my god, don't get me started on Sticker Star.
Let's just move along.
Alright.
Move along. We'll do that in another episode. You can have your own episode dedicated to it.
Comment below if you want me to have my own episode dedicated to my rant about Sticker Star. Okay, so the next game I would like to talk about is actually an MMORPG called Arcade. Parker, stop interrupting. Okay, so Arcade is an MMO that utilizes... It's like a sandbox game, and it utilizes battle and crafting as well as farming. So you can have your own house, and you can have your own farm where you grow things, and then it's farming, trading, and crafting. So you can craft your own armor.
See, I can't play Arcade. My computer can barely handle Minecraft.
It requires a bit of a beefy computer. The connection's really unstable a lot of the time, and
I definitely won't be able to play it.
Yeah, I get kicked all the time for no reason, even when I have perfectly good Wi-Fi. Arcade just likes to kick you out.
I never have perfectly good Wi-Fi, so I won't be sticking around in the game.
The Wi-Fi here is really bad. It's your typical MMO. You can choose your race and your class, and then you can learn skills and stuff, and you can beat up bad guys and NPCs and enemies, not NPCs, but, well, do enemies count as NPCs? That's an interesting topic. Do enemies count as NPCs? Because technically you can't play as them.
I don't know. Perhaps they do.
That's a very interesting topic to think about. That's, okay.
Something else for another episode.
Exactly. Okay. But yes, Arcade, if you have a beefy computer, or you have a computer that can handle a little bit more, a game that has a little bit extra to it, you should definitely play it because it's the most beautiful game in the entire world. The graphics are amazing, and honestly, if for no other reason, even if I didn't like the game itself, I would still want to play it all the time just because the graphics are so good. It makes World of Warcraft want to cry. I'm looking at all of you World of Warcraft fans. How do you deal with the graphics? They suck.
Don't whisper.
How do you deal with the graphics? They suck. Okay. Now for my third game, I had a couple of ideas jotted down here.
You did?
Yeah. But I think I would like to talk about Breath of the Wild, because Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch is a beautiful game. Like, it's this whole open world. You can do pretty much anything you want to. You can say, screw the story, and go straight to the final boss. And it's not impossible to beat him.
Can I tell my story?
Oh, dear goodness. What have I done?
So, one time, I haven't had the pleasure of purchasing the game myself, but Vix used to bring it over back in the day, back when they just owned it on Wii U. And, so they generously allowed me to take over, and I decided that rather than go through the story, I want to fight Ganon. Right at the beginning. And you know what? I did. After multiple attempts, I finally made it through Hyrule Castle into Ganon's little room. I almost killed, like, the first, what's it called? Phase, we'll call it?
You destroyed Windblight Ganon. I think you were on Waterblight Ganon.
Oh, wonderful.
So he destroyed one of them.
Yes.
But then there were three more.
At the very beginning of the game, I hadn't beaten any bosses.
I literally, alright, just imagine sneaking your way into Hyrule Castle with nothing but a pot lid for a shield and one wheel of stamina. Just imagine that. If you've played this game, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That is what we went through, so that he could go to Ganon and just lose repeatedly.
And Vix tried to talk me out of doing it. They said I couldn't make it inside, but I did.
Only because I killed all the guardians that we ran into.
Yeah, but that was before the castle, wasn't it? Or were they at the castle?
They were, like, all around the outside of the castle.
Well, I still got in.
Oh, just a little tip. If you play Breath of the Wild, and you're up against guardians, especially at an early level, or like you don't really have levels, but at an early stage in the game, if you press the A button on the Nintendo Switch to parry your shield at the right moment, then the beam of light being shot at you from the guardian can actually be returned and parried to the guardian, destroying it in usually between 1 and 3 hits.
Okay. So, would you like to go back to your experience with the game now?
Yes, I would. So, Breath of the Wild, I don't know, it's such a good game. Like, the story is really beautiful. I love that it's like a sandbox game where you can pretty much go wherever you want and do whatever you want in any order you like. Like, you're really free to just kind of explore and do whatever and, like, build things, build up your character at your own pace. Like, build Link up, slowly get more armor. You can make food, which makes boss battles way easier. Because if you have something that replenishes hearts, especially if it's, like, with hardy fruit, that will replenish hearts and then give you extra hearts as well. That's really helpful. There's a couple of comics about, I'm sure if you look it up, you can find any given artist making a comic about Link stopping mid-battle to eat something and regaining all his hearts, and then the bad guy being like, that's not fair! I've seen quite a few myself. It's pretty good. I just really love the whole concept of the game. And I like how customizable it is, too, because you can dye your armor and get it in all different colors. Using items in the game.
The game does have lovely graphics.
It's also very beautiful.
Now, just to be clear, since this is the second time I've mentioned graphics in relation to a game, I feel I should mention this. I am not obsessed with graphics. I couldn't care less about graphics. One of my favorite games is Donkey Kong 64, but since we're pretty far into this, I'm not going to delve into that. Okay, so are you finished?
Yes.
Alright. Well, on that note, we are going to close today's podcast. Thank you all very much for talking nonsense with us, and we will see you next time.
Bye!